All right, my babies, how are we today? Let's get into it. Um, Video. Smarter is not having better opinions, but asking better questions. How bad I felt when trying to get people to talk to me about code. Okay, that's the context. So smarter is not having better opinions, but asking the right questions. I feel this falls into the whole. Well, the context here is me feeling bad because I was trying to talk to people about something I'm interested in, and this didn't just like. I remember once we were camping and some woman was asking a question about the guitar, so I was kind of like talking about how music came to be historically, and she was like, "I just wanted to know the answer, man." I'm like, "Okay," and I gave her an answer, and it's honestly like if yes or no answers kind of like only make sense if you're asking with enough detail. But just expecting somebody to kind of like skim through or provide a proper like answer for something that requires a bit of explanation, I guess. Not sure. But it had to happen to me when I read books. The same thing. Like I'd be talking to people, I get excited, and effectively, a lot of people kind of like. I think positive energy makes people the resistance we get when we're kind of like being that kind of like energetic. I think most of the resistance is because people feel bad about themselves when that kind of happens, and in a way, that excited energy is because you're smarter. So like you're not smarter. You're kind of like learning something new. So you're kind of like high on your own achievements. I guess the best way I could explain it. So let's a teacher that I used to like. Well, as a teacher, like I used to watch videos basically of him. But he is one of those like gurus that my dad used to take me to when I was a kid. Much better, right? With the light. And he has a speech basically that he was talking once. He was like, "It's in our nature to teach. It's in our nature to ex- uh, but I think the essence of our expression is teaching. Like anytime you're talking about anything, you're kind of highlighting its value to you, right? And in a way, the people that impress you the most, that you talk to more often, are the people that are always kind of like talking about either something new or something new about the something that you talked about before. Because they're always kind of like elaborating and exploring it as they're kind of like exploring it with you, the conversation or whatever. So, you know, so the guru that I was talking about was mentioned something like very primitive because like when you're kind of like looking at a child that has just recently learned colors, for example, like a 1 year old kid, and the minute he looks at a car, for example, and it's a blue car, and he goes like, "Look, blue car." Technically, that's him telling you or teaching you that this car is blue, right? Our natural response is Mr. Point out the obvious, but to him, it's kind of like, I got it, or something like this. Like, that's in our inherent nature to kind of like explore through others the things that we're interested in. And over the course of specifically, no, see, okay, so it's always been this way, but I never noticed it. When I operate a restaurant in like Liberia, there's a person that I really like enjoyed talking to, or at least hanging out with. And I never, I didn't know if I considered her a friend. I was very neutral when it comes to everyone, man. Everyone. Like when I left Lebanon in a more like I have no idea what I'm getting myself into, but it really does not seem, it very much was not relevant for me to spend time with people because they're inconsistent. So they come and they leave after like a year, and you kind of develop a relationship, but it's not really a friendship. And so after like a while over there, I kind of developed a neutral. I now also managed like I'm a bartender who built a restaurant and was managing it at the same time. So I kind of created that whole like I guess persona. But she came to me and she was like, Todd, it's just the guy with all the weird facts. And it was like I noticed at that time that she basically mentioned references because when we're always talking about something, I kind of reference something I know, and from there I kind of like extend on the conversation or whatever it is we're discussing. And apparently they came out as facts. But I only started noticing when I came back from over there. This is turning into a reflection video, right? But aren't they all? But a few of them are historical and whatever. So what happened was when I actually like I think in 2019 when my cousin got married, it was a click that happened with me because like when you're looking at somebody and you're like he knows what the fuck he wants, he knows what the fuck he's doing, and that instantly made me feel proud of him, but also made me feel reflect on myself. And it's funny that I distinctly remember like having a feeling and I didn't know what it is. And then I realized like I'm actually like happy for him. And from there I was like, I'm excited for him. He's happy to be getting married. That means me happy for him because he's excited. That means I kind of have like a certain sensation of pride in me. And from there I kind of reflected on that feeling from a prideful perspective and realized I don't really have that. I didn't really have that with anything else. And I always considered that pride is not personal because you can be proud of yourself, but if you have pride in the people you know and the accomplishments, right? That kind of stuff is the philosophy because like if you have pride in yourself, then effectively you're reflecting on the tangible thing that makes you feel that pride, which ultimately is the ego. So having pride in yourself is kind of like you being smart enough or lying lying to yourself through your ego. But so anyways, so when I came, I just kind of really wanted to explore something new because like I felt like very restricted over there in Africa, and I had little resources, and all I did was I'd research stuff online, and I'd want to talk to people, and I'd want to talk to people, and most of the time I felt misunderstood. Like I have friends that look at me and go like, "Tariq, what you're talking about doesn't make sense," and then I'd stop and be like, "Okay, I was talking about this," and they'd go like, "Yes, I understand that," and I started talking about this, and they go like, "I was still there," and then I kind of like started. I became more systematic in understanding how I kind of like express ultimately. So so naturally I came to like Lebanon and there are more resources when it comes to like academics and like just like people and doing stuff and the different forms of how to do business. Over there the country was beautiful but it was very like natural. So like the ethics behind business, the structures behind business, the standards behind business are not there because everyone's kind of like trying to find a way to actually do it, which is beautiful in its own like in its own space, but it's also kind of limiting because like you can only build on whatever is is working instead of kind of create something that works. Ultimately, I decided to leave and I came back. And when I got here, I started basically going around and searching for these people that are doing that stuff for me to kind of like talk to. And looking at it now, that shit was so normal for them, probably, that they can kind of drained my energy when I'm trying to be excited about them. And it kind of like reflect, is it that they're normal or is it just because uh, I don't know, like our situation in Lebanon is a bit, I don't want to say drastic, but if but when you're high, you kind of feel good. Though when you're taking basically, you know, when you go to the dentist and they gives you that kind of like painkiller so that you don't feel your teeth, it kind of feels like this is how everyone is in Lebanon. It's kind of like sh stunned because like it's just like a whole lot of drama, a whole lot of traumatic incidents keep happening, and effectively it's more of a everyone's in shock all the time. And it's not that that didn't phase me. It's just I kind of decided to look past it. But as I progressed over a couple of years, I started basically asking better questions in order for me to kind of avoid feeling bad, because that's when people are like talking to you until they don't want to anymore. And it's not masking your excitement, but it's kind of allowing them to dive into it one step at a time, maybe. That makes more sense now that I think about it, because like you, you don't have to look at it as holding yourself back, but like easing them in. Yeah, so I started asking better questions because, and maybe that note is basically being smarter, not having better opinions, but asking better questions. Because ultimately, I was expressing what I saw in the world, and that doesn't interest people. So when you're asking better questions, you're seeing their perspective, and you're getting more truth out of the conversation. Because mostly statements are done based on what we know, but asking questions allows people to kind of like explore how they see things, why, and if it's still relevant or not. Yeah, man. All of us are fucking unique, but super weird at the same time. It's a video. Love you guys.